the window had been busted out and part of our gear had been stolen.
There's nowhere to play up here at all.
I'm sitting there kind of by myself, like waiting for my mates, and the mirrors, like the mirrors kind of like spin open like 90 degrees, like they kind of rotate open, and all these women in sexy lingerie can come walking out from behind the mirrors.
I'm just going to throw this out there that it almost sounded like you were kind of the dark side sometimes of the scene.
Just when I'd parted ways with Monuments, and so it was really, really desperate time of my life.
At the end of it, our bass player told us, like, he just looked at us like, yeah, this is my last show.
So, like, basically back to the Beast era.
Dealing with this alcohol intake, and we're at a Christian festival, and we're supposed to be a Christian band. I was kind of like, man, this sucks. This is not a good look.
Welcome back to Dark Side of the Scene. I'm Brandon, alongside Ed.
Yo,
What's going on?
I just watched Sons of Anarchy for the first time today, ever, because I wanted to watch it. Well, my wife wanted to watch it with me, so we did. And like, there's no spoilers because the show's been like got done for a while.
It ended in like 9 years ago.
Did it really? So wow, holy shit!
Yeah, we're watching True Blood. It ended 9 years ago too.
Well, True Blood.
Good old show about vampires and sex and vampires and werewolves and more sex and
I guess that if you're into that kind of shit.
I guess so.
I went through my Facebook memories and I came across a old guitar pick commercial I made just for the hell of it. Because I used to be in another band that I wasn't in this band. And then like the person in the commercial, I no longer talk to that person anymore. And I was like,
Why?
well, it's not like I could share that with them. Well, why? Well, let's see. Well, I used to be in this one band and like it took a good chunk of my like 8 years. I was in this band for a while. We didn't really go anywhere or do anything. And like a few times I kind of wanted to leave because I just wasn't happy. I was like, what am I doing with my life? And then like at one point I ended up finding a member, like kind of, to revive it, another, new blood.
Yeah.
So then I found this individual and it was going pretty good. Like, as usually you hit it off with people and then you just become good friends with that person. And then like, then later, you're just like, I don't know what had happened was like, I ended up seeing somebody, right? And then like, they were kind of strange to begin with, as you go through many strange dating and relationships.
That's a topic.
That's a topic. And
in itself.
So then like, right. So then like we hung out and then she would come to the band shows. And then at one point, I think she found interest in this other person, but that person was married at the time. So it's kind of weird. So maybe it's me. Maybe I was a terrible person, but I feel like that individual dumped me to get with that person because,
and they were married.
Yes, correct. So I feel like it was one of those, he's an upgrade. I'm gonna, what do you call it? When they broken home thing? What's it called? Home wrecker. Home wrecker. Now from that, like they're probably thinking, well, you must be bitter. I'm like, no, it's kind of weird because you're supposed to be friends with the person. Now there was a window where you break up with somebody and it's like apparently okay later to date that person, but I found that kind of weird that like they were married, you know what I mean?
It's a similar situation that I kind of went through, like with a bandmate's ex was talking to me.
Oh.
And at the time, my whole previous relationships was going out the window because of someone else's infidelities. But so they were just talking to me and like being nice to me or whatever, but it was that person was dating used to date someone in the band. I always felt weird about it. I was like, I don't feel comfortable talking to this person because I'm in a band with like your ex. And then we don't talk anymore. But it was just one of those things. It was like I didn't mind having someone to talk to, but it was like, was there more intentions behind it or not? I don't know. I don't think there were.
So you mean just talk? You were just they were just talking to you?
Yeah, we never done anything or anything like that.
See, that's a little. I mean, that was respectful of you to feel that way, but like this was like a lot worse.
Yeah,
they got together like I wasn't mean to the person, that individual, but I just kind of like, how do you face that? You're just like, that was supposed to be my friend, right? And you're like, okay. So eventually that person got sick of me and left. And normally I'm pretty cool to be in a band with, I won't lie, but like I think like it was just too weird. And like that was basically the last straw for me wanting to stay in that band anyway, because I wasn't happy. And I'd got that individual thinking they should breathe new life into that band. And then when that went down, I just wasn't happy anyway. So I was like, oh. So yeah, I just kind of let a little information to all of you about that whole thing.
There's been other instances with guys I've been in bands with that have swapped girlfriends and everything, and I don't know how they do it and how they get along because that's weird to me. I don't know.
It's totally weird. It's totally weird. Like, I mean, it's not like I was sad that like she dumped me. I mean, it sucks to get dumped by somebody, that's kind of not all there to begin with. So,
well, she dumped you. That proves she's not all there. The fine piece of Ed that she dumped.
Yeah, that's not the thing, but like these people are supposed to be your friends, and like,
friends don't date or mess around with their friends, bandmates, significant others. And I guess if you're no longer together, is there an open window of when they can do that? It still makes it all awkward for anyone. So anyone out there listening, don't do that. You're just going to ruin whatever band you're involved in. It always happens. I don't know if anyone out there has experienced it and the band's been great and everything's happy-go-lucky afterwards. Cool. I'd like to hear about it. But for the most part, from my experiences and from others I've talked to, that doesn't ever happen.
Right. And I didn't think that would ever happen to me. Not that to say that it was just random, Well, so yeah, I just poured a little information to everybody how I feel about that kind of situation because I was in it.
Yeah, so it sounds like your old bandmate's kind of a dickwad.
I guess so. I mean, I don't talk to that individual anymore. It is what it is, like.
So are they a thing?
I think they're married now.
Yeah. I mean, weird.
Right.
Weird.
Totally weird.
But yeah, anyone out there listening, if you've got similar situations or anything else that you would like to talk about, you can get a hold of us. Send an email.
Don't be afraid to share that because I just shared that with everybody publicly, and a lot of people know me. So
yeah. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of things that I could talk about that I choose not to, not because I don't want it to be out in public. It's just, I don't want this show to be about me specifically or about you specifically. I wanted to hear from everyone else. We don't try and make it about ourselves.
No.
So we try and keep it to where we share a little bit here and there, but not a whole lot.
Right.
But yeah, anyone out there that wants to be on an episode, send an email to Brandon@darksideofthescene.com. and we will get you scheduled for a future episode. But we've got someone in waiting, so we're going to bring them on in. So hang tight. I'd like to welcome Craig to the show. Craig, thanks for coming and talking to us.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate this.
No problem. What band are you from, or what do you play, or anything like that? A little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the lead guitarist and lead singer of a band called User Friendly Killer Robots. We are out of Traverse City, Michigan. and we've been playing together as a band for something like 16 years now.
Hmm.
So we've been in the scene for quite a few years. We've seen some shit. We've also had some awesome victories. We've also had some just bizarre, funny things that have happened around us, to us. Stuff that, at the time was like, what the fuck was that? And other times was like, okay, well, that happened. But later on we can laugh about it later and stuff like that. And even the dark stuff, even the shitty shit that happened to us.
I've been in your town before. It's pretty cool.
Oh, right on, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, it's our hometown. Ironically, there's not a lot of places to play.
I
For,
really
for
not where those food trucks were. There's like some
yeah,
food trucks downtown
yeah.
somewhere.
That's a great little spot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's actually a great hangout. So to clarify, my band is we're a metal band.
Okay.
And so Traverse City is not very welcoming for metal bands, which is hilarious.
That is hilarious because you have like a big store with a big piece of fudge on top. You think they'd be accepted to?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
We're the shit eaters. Ooh, like,
Yes.
No, so we last couple times we've played in Traverse City, we got hired. I don't. Oh, you know what it was? As I got asked to play this like benefit acoustic concert thing with these older guys, which was great. I grew up listening to my dad's music essentially, and so we're playing a Tom Petty song, and and he looks over at me, he's like, "Go for a solo," and I'm like, "Okay," and I'm on the acoustic guitar, and I'm just like, well, just whatever. And I get done, and everyone's looking at me, and like, "Holy shit, dude! I didn't think you could do that on an acoustic guitar." I'm like, "It's just guitar, guys." And so we, months later, I get a call from this lady, and she's like, "I heard you at this benefit show. I want to book you." And I was like, "All right, cool. Me, or do you want to book the band?" And she goes, "No, your band. If you sound anything like your band." I'm like, "Well, we're a metal band, so are you sure?" She goes, "Oh, absolutely." I'm like, "Let me send you some stuff that we do. I just want you to be absolutely sure of what we play." And she goes, "Absolutely." And so I wait a couple days. I message her back, go, "So did you listen?" She goes, "Yep. Are you guys in?" I'm like, "I guess so then. Yeah, absolutely." So she booked us at this country bar. And so we, yeah. So we start, we get there, and my bass player looks at me, and we look in this, it's a shitty bar. It's that country bar, that shitty country bar.
Did he say like from like that movie La Bamba, "Booney to Rooney to these shit stompers"?
Yeah. No, actually, it was more of the. He was more of like the, "Well, boys, what are we playing? Both kinds of music, country and western." And I go, "God, I hope he brought the chicken wire, for God's sakes."
Yes.
Yeah, so we walked in, and we're carrying, my bass player's got a full bass stack, and we've got, double drums and shit like that, and I've got this massive guitar rig, and we're walking in got our own PA, and the waitress comes up, and we got a handful of equipment, and she goes, "You're too loud." We all just stop and we look at her like, "Excuse me? Well, not now you're too loud, but you look too loud." If you could imagine that. So we're like, "Oh, well, we were booked here by so-and-so, and well, we're not one to give up on a gig, but if you want us to not play, just say the word. We won't play. It's fine." She goes, "Well, no, you're booked, so you got to play." Okay.
Make that money.
Get that money. It wasn't that much money. And so we set up, and we started playing, and she just kept coming over to me. "You're too loud. Just turn it down. I need to talk to my customers."
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those. So, I mean, we've run into plenty of that. So we've just kind of basically, after the third time they come over and say, "You're too loud," we just pretend we're turning knobs at our amps. and then we just go back to what we're doing, and usually it's fine. Usually.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, that's Traverse City basically for us when we play. Although we have had some really cool victories in Traverse City as far as venues and stuff.
Mm.
There is one venue I'd like to promote if you guys are okay with that.
Sure, if you like it.
Yeah. So the venue that we played at that was surprising for us that we actually had a stellar crowd. We made so much money that night. Was Fresh Coast Beer Works, and they welcomed us with open arms, and they're like, "Yeah, man, whatever you need and want, drinks are on us, and
Nice.
go for it." It's like, oh, shit, okay. And then we had the crowd in the palm of our hands. My whole motif when it comes to vocals is I tend to put this like not a literal mask, but like this mask of like, I'm going to be aggressive. I am the aggressive one. And so I get on the mic. I'm like, "Are you fuckers ready? Let's go!" And like they just fucking. I mean, there's these people there that were like, I don't know, they had to be in their late 70s, but they were just fucking just stomping around. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've been to a lot of metal shows. Hell yeah. It made us feel really good, actually.
That's good.
Yeah.
They're from hometown.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So anyway, so that's a kind of just talking. Pew, here I am.
I was gonna say, like, I have a funny Traverse City story when I was there.
Oh yeah, do tell, man.
I will tell because you probably know that the area when I was.
Oh yeah.
We went. It was a group of us, about a group of 4. My wife and her cousin and her wife. We were walking around, and I think it was August. I can't remember, but we were walking around and found that food truck center thing. That thing's pretty cool. And then we walked the other way, and I don't know like what day it was exactly, because I know like it was a little bit after the Beast time, because we had a hell of a time finding a restaurant to walk into the bathroom.
Oh God,
yeah. So like we went to we went up all the way to that KFC, and they're like they weren't. It was only drive-through only. Like most of the restaurants, there were drive-through only.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
You remember? I don't know. It was a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure. And so we were walking around, and then there was this like what looked like a university kind of by the water.
Yep, that's the college.
We walked in the college, and they were having a wedding there.
Oh,
I just walked in like we own the place just to piss. It's the best piss I ever had. I even grabbed a couple rolls, like, and left.
To the Mr. and Mrs. Congratulations.
Right. And like,
adios.
It was just weird times because every restaurants there were
Oh yeah, the Beast was brutal up in Traverse. It really
sounds
was.
like it. And like I remember walking to the guitar store and like it was closed. Maybe it was a Sunday. It's probably why, but I found
Yeah, Traverse City is a bit of a sleepy town, to be honest. Unfortunately,
it was happening though. Like there was a lot of stuff going on, but man, I had to piss so bad.
And he went to the college and had some.
He had to pee. So you know what I'm talking about. So now it makes sense.
Yeah, that's actually the what you walked into. A little context. That's actually the culinary school, and they hold weddings there all the time. And it's funny because my brother got married there too.
Maybe that was his wedding. We crashed.
No, he got married last year.
Okay, it wasn't last year. Nice.
But that's hilarious. Walked in, rolls, Mr. and Mrs. Congratulations.
I'm surprised they didn't kick us out because of the whole we just walked in like we didn't care. Nobody really looked at us. They just
so the culinary students they go in and out of that building like any day, anytime. Doesn't really matter. The Maritime Academy is right there too, so they're used to people just walking in.
No, but it's a cool town. Yeah, it's a cool town because the way it's like set up, it's almost like the beach. Like it's pretty cool town. Yeah. But yeah, I don't see how there could be metal there, but you kind of give me some inspiration there.
We've been digging out in that town for the last 10 years, actually trying to make a scene, because there's I can't tell you how many just underground metal, punk, and just hardcore bands that are in Traverse that actually have to travel outside of Traverse just to play. and it's just because there's really no venue there for that kind of hardcore style of music. And so, traveling to Cadillac or Grand Rapids or Lansing, Detroit, some even Saginaw, Flint. I mean, you name it. Just the bigger cities, bigger college towns. Our biggest spot that we play at actually is in Grand Rapids. It's actually a really cool bar down in Grand Rapids that has welcomed us with open arms. Again, plugging them.
I feel like this is another story from another Michigan band that has the same problem. Maybe you guys can meet up halfway somewhere,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just Michigan's basically a big state of distillate for when it comes to music. I mean, it's a rich state for so much other stuff, but when it comes to music, they like their country and they like their folk music. I tell you what.
And their pot and beer.
Oh, pot and beer, yeah, their Bush Latte.
Yeah, I don't understand with such rich diversity of weed and beer that they don't have enough metal venues or whatever.
I know.
Or in general.
I know. Yeah. So this one bar we play at in Grand Rapids is called Mulligan's.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, Mulligan's Pub, and they're like this underground punk metal, just rock and roll. They don't really care what you play as long as you're weird, out there, and the kids, I should say kids, the younger people, they come in and they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, and they don't care if there's moshing, they don't care because it's a shitty like dive bar style look to it, but they're really, really welcoming and friendly and stuff like that to the bands, and that's something I really appreciate.
Was the sound guy cool? His name's Will.
Well,
working there at the time.
Yeah, so that's a funny story about that place is they go through sound guys like other bars go through waitresses.
Oh, okay. Maybe Will's no, I talked to. Hopefully, we play there someday. I got the connections. We just haven't had anything line up.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm setting a show up in May. There, and I'm looking for a band to come and play. You interested?
What
Look at us networking.
Oh, what day it is? You have to let me know what day it is later.
I'll email you today. How's that?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so we we're playing. We get to Mulligan's, and we got asked to fill in a slot for this other lineup, and this is pop punk lineup, and the venue owner, the booking manager, she gave them our name and said, hey, call these guys. They're always there. They're always on time, and they always put on a great show. She neglected to mention to them that we're metal and they're pop punk. And so
okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. We get there and we're like, hey, we're the band. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much. You guys saved our day. I was like, no problem, guys. No problem at all. And they're like, so she didn't mention what style of music you play. And both my bass player and I look at each other like, we're metal, punk metal, because they're like, their eyes went wide, like fear, like, oh God. And I was like, punk metal. They're like, oh, that's okay. Okay, punk metal's okay. So we opened that show for them, and we got up there and we took the crowd over. We took their whole crowd over. I got on the mic and I'm like, are you motherfuckers ready? I want your fucking hands in the air. And everyone just like, they rushed the stage. We opened with one of our heaviest songs, and we just lit the fireworks, and it went. And I mean, the other bands were standing in the side area, and they're like looking at us. We could see them peeking through the door. And we get done with our 45-minute set, and we get our shit off stage real fucking fast, because that's kind of how that works for us. Yep. We get on, get off as fast as possible.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you. And then we get into the back hallway where they have the load-ins, and they're all just like they're all huddled. They're huddled like a fucking football huddle, and they look over and they break like, man, you guys sound fucking awesome. Don't know how we're gonna follow that. I'm like, hey, don't worry about us, man. You guys are gonna rock out. Don't worry about it. Cool. And they did. They actually, I feel like that when we got up there and we raised that energy, the crowd they were ravenous. And I feel like it made them play a little harder.
Yeah.
And it felt really good because, these guys were younger than me and us, we're I would say a little more grizzled.
You sound like a little kid, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know. I got a higher pitch voice.
I picture Wee Man. I don't know what you look
Yeah.
like, but I try to picture all these people that we talk to. I don't do okay. I told Brandon, Brandon, I don't do research on these people, what they look like or their bands. I just want to know their story. And I always try to guess what some of these people look like, and I've been off. So
all right, you got 20 questions. Go.
no, that's all. I picture Wee Man from Jackass. What you look like?
You know what? I got Wee Man energy. That's for sure.
Because like when you said something early about rocking the acoustic guitar, I picture the guy that died from the heroin overdose, but they're famous now.
Oh
even though he's
yeah.
dead. What is that?
Yeah.
Band?
Is that Mother Love Bone?
No, where he's like, I can play the guitar like a motherfucker, and
that's a Sublime.
I picture you. That's what you look like. I don't know why.
Oh. do.
Right. You don't look anything like that, huh? Okay. Anyway.
Well, no, yeah, my voice definitely does not match my look. I am definitely a bigger boy. Let's just put it that way.
That's okay. So am I. It's cool.
Yeah. I work at a brewery, and I'm a brewer,
yeah.
and so
shit.
I imbibe quite a bit, and
nice.
Yeah, that beer gut does not go away if you keep drinking. So.
Somebody's got to test the shit.
I got to be a tester.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of my job. It's what I get paid for.
That's awesome. For real.
So it took me a long time to get to where I am, day job and musically for sure. But, you guys want to hear some crazy, weird shit stories?
Sure.
Hell yeah.
What did I interrupt your last one? Sorry.
Oh, no. You're good. Okay. Like I said, I can just talk all day long.
Basically, what I gather is you brought the energy and you got off the fucking stage. I mean, you were like a fill-in band, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and you were respectful to the other band, and you got off stage and you didn't bore anybody. So like that's a good sign, of what you guys do. So
yeah, I mean, it took us 16 years to get to where we are for that kind of style. Like when to lay on the aggression, when to back off of it, when to schmooze, when to shut up and listen. That kind of shit is. I had to learn the hard way on several occasions. My mouth got the better of me, and we got blacklisted in a town because of it. And didn't find out till years later, and then it's like, oh fuck, why didn't I just shut up and just listen to what's around me, kind of thing. But again, young and dumb kind of shit, and you live, you learn.
Yep.
So it took me a long fucking time to get to where I am, and a lot of hard lessons learned. So nice. crazy story for you. So this is actually a different band that I was in before this one, and the band was called Half Stacked, and we were at this point a punk band. And we were a brand new punk band too, right out of school, and we got invited to play this Narcotics Anonymous party. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but all right, cool. And the guy sent us over this waiver that we had to sign and send back. And we had to FedEx it back. Like we couldn't just like sign it and email it. We had to like print it out, sign it, and FedEx it back to this guy who lived like 5 minutes away from us. It's like, okay, can I just drop it off? No, you have to mail it. Okay. So
I'll start doing that with our form.
Right.
Yeah, right. So anyway, we signed the papers, and we're like, all right, cool. And the papers were something like can't bring any alcohol, no smoking pot, because it's a Narcotics Anonymous party. They want it's like stuff like that. And it's like, all right, cool. And they're like, it's got to be, the whole show's gonna be done by 9. I'm like, this sounds pretty legit and straightforward. Okay, no worries. So we start driving, give the address on the paperwork. We start driving, and I'm like, wow, this is way fucking far away from the guy that is organizing this. Well, it's way in the middle of nowhere in buttfuck Egypt. I mean, it's like It is just where was it? It was something that, like, it was just east of Manton, in just a field somewhere, in some guy's like trailer, and a big open field, and and a barn. There was a barn there too.
Oh.
And so we pull up, and I had to pee like a motherfucker. So I get out of the truck, I jump out, and I go in. I'm looking for like the porta potty, because the paperwork said it was a big festival kind of thing. I'm looking for the porta potties. I'm like, fuck, I got to pee like a mofo. It's wide open. I would just pissed in the door card if I would have known. But I go up to the house or the trailer, and I knock on the door. No one answers. So I open it, and there's no one there. And I look for the bathroom, and I find the bathroom, and it's kind of like cracked open. And so I knock on it, and I hear some noise in there. I'm like, well, whatever. I push it open, and there's this guy. He's snorting coke on the back of the toilet seat. And when I push the door open, he looks around and goes, oh, and he sneezes, and it's like this bloody phlegm that hits the shower stall right there. And he's like waving. He's like, I was just taking a piss, and he like bum rushed past me. And so
Oh God.
I was like, holy shit. Oh, this is an NA party. All right. Well, I guess this is kind of the shit. So I take a piss, and I don't touch anything. I'm like, I better off having germs on my hands than fucking touching anything in here.
Right.
I go back out, and I'm looking for my drummer, because he and I rode together. And I'm like, where the fuck is he? And I'm looking, and I see the barn, and it got this paper sign that someone had gone to like the dollar store and taped together these like craft paper pieces, and in really bad handwriting wrote bands only. I was like, oh God, this can't be right. And so I walk into the barn, and it's like this hay barn. And I'm like, there are all these bands, and they're all there. One guy's in the corner. He's got a crack pipe. He's lighting up and smoking there. And another guy, he's smoking a joint. He's like, what's up, brother? And I'm like, wow, this is so far from NA party. I'm really amazed that they were doing this. Just my expectations were completely blown out of the water. And then I finally find my drummer, and he's backed up against this hay bale, and there's this guy in his face, like with his hands like in his face, and he's like got this like wide-eyed like look of, oh shit, what did I do kind of thing. I'm like, oh fuck. So I go up, and I'm trying to like be calm about this, and I go up behind him, and I hear him just as I get up there, and he goes, you see this fucking ring on my hands? And my drummer's like, yeah. He goes, if I take this ring off, I turn to werewolf, I'll tear your fucking throat out. And he's like wide-eyed looking at him. He spots me, and he gives me the SOS look, like, fucking help me, dude. Like, I was trying so hard not to fucking laugh. I'm like, werewolf? Really? Well, I guess there's that many drugs here, so I guess. So
I feel like
Jesse, the sound guy needs us. Let's go. I grab him by the shoulder, and jet, and we end up playing. And we're sitting in the van. I'm like, dude, do we fucking play? This is so fucked up. And he's like, I don't know, man. Gig's a gig, and I guess. I was like, how much are we getting paid? And he goes like, $50. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if that's worth it. And he goes, dude, we're no name. We have to play. I'm like, okay, I guess. So we play the show, and that was an experience for sure. Just the complete expectation blowing up. Just wow.
I would have been scared of them stealing my shit for more drugs.
Right. Yeah. No, that was, I don't know why they put it as an NA party, but yeah.
It's
wow. It's weird.
Yeah. Did you ever like talk to the person that booked it and be like, what the fuck, dude?
Oh yeah. Later
or
on,
you just took the money and run and say, I don't want to work with that person again.
So we did get paid. Oh, this is the ironic part. We got paid in gift cards.
Okay.
So yeah, that was weird as fuck.
Did they have food there? Like I pictured nachos and like lemonade, but I don't.
Oh, dude, the food there was the saddest. They had this kiddie pool that they had this like that was like two kiddie pools actually. So the one kiddie pool, it was a smaller one that had all like sodas and ice and stuff like that, but no one was touching that, and everyone had like beer everywhere kind of thing. So the sodas were sitting there untouched. And then there's another kiddie pool, and I shit you not, they had an immersion heater in the kiddie pool, and they had hot dogs in the kiddie pool, and no one was eating them. It was just like it looked like a turd floating in pools. And like it was just like gross. That was the food.
I don't refuse a hot dog, man. Come on.
Drink the water.
Drink the water.
Yeah, right. Drink the water, the piss water, the hot dog water. No, after seeing that guy sneeze bloody phlegm in the shower, so I was like, oh, I don't want to touch anything in this place.
That'd be a little.
That's
awkward.
gross. Yeah, it was very awkward. I learned a couple lessons on that one. Is always verifying the event kind of thing. Definitely vet it out. And
yeah,
I've definitely been approached recently too by different other venues, or sorry, not venues, festivals, saying, "Hey, we heard your music online. We want you to play for us." And more times than not, it's predatory, or they just didn't do any of the research of who they were trying to book and hire, and we would have been either misbooked or kicked off the festival without even playing because someone in charge would be like, "Who the fuck are you and why are you here?" kind of thing. So that's happened to us so many times of us being misbooked, i.e. the country bar. Yeah. So
nice.
I mean, yeah, it's just we've learned our lessons, to vet everything. Some people, like, we have a couple buddies who do a couple house parties up here a year kind of thing, and it seems shitty from the outside, like the house parties, because it's just some guy in his house throwing a house party kind of thing. It's not nothing official kind of thing, but from the outside it looks trashy. Beer cans everywhere, cigarettes everywhere, and the joints and shit like that. But I mean, you go inside, you set up, and you start playing, and they're all completely appreciative of what you're doing, and you're not getting paid, but you're getting free beer at least, so there's something. I mean, they're buddies of mine too, so like, I know that if I say, "Hey man, I really need like $200 for this," because my drummer lives in Grand Rapids, and he's got to drive up here and stuff like that, and he's like, "Yeah, no problem. I just have to wait a week and get it to you." I'm like, "Ah, cool, man, no worries." And, he and I've worked together quite a bit, and that's something that's vetting process, and
Right.
I feel like that keeps us a little humble when it comes to playing, because we've played in shitty situations to the point where we're like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Well, no, we got to finish our set and then get the fuck out, because we're not quitters,
So your current drummer lives in Grand Rapids?
Correct.
And you live in Traverse?
I live in Traverse. My bass player lives in Traverse City as well.
So how big of a drive is that like?
It's about a 2 hour 15.
Wow.
It's Google Maps says it's 2.5 hour, but well, us Michiganders, we like to drive fast, especially when it's a blizzard.
Right. So like, how's band practice go for you when he's away? Like, do you meet like once a month or?
Yeah, actually, that's actually a good point. Band practice actually for us is pretty smooth. We do about twice a month. We usually pick a Sunday, and so the drummer is actually my brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so we meet up at my dad's house, and my dad actually about 5 years ago renovated his house and made it basically into a huge studio.
Nice.
Music studio. And so we just got all the shit set up. So all we have to do is just meet there, and we can just go. We don't have to set equipment up, which is really nice. But for him, it's about 2 hours 15 to get to the practice space. And then for me and my bass player, it's a good, I don't know, 25 minutes to the practice space. But we spend about, I'd say, 8 to 10 hours practicing every other Sunday, and it works because when we do play a show, with the overwhelming comments I hear from people is that we're incredibly tight and we our chemistry shows on stage kind of thing, and we cover each other quite nicely kind of thing. So it's just diligence, keeping up the practice. We're always writing new songs. Well, I should say I'm always writing new songs, and then I'm bringing the skeletons of those songs to the guys, and we just beat out the new stuff until it resembles something cool, kind of thing. So
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, so that was a weird story about the NA party.
Yeah. I can't say that's ever happened to me, but there could have been any bar or venue that maybe Brandon and I in our respective bands, somebody's probably doing smack and we don't even know it. So
right.
No, if they were, I usually knew.
Yeah.
It was always the drummer.
I don't want
That's always the drummer.
I usually don't
in my
always
case it was.
Yeah, I usually try to stay oblivious. Like I'm an innocent kid. It's like I saw nothing. I won't say nothing.
Yeah, your secret's safe with me, kid.
I'm looking through old flyers from one of my previous bands because we played a festival, quote unquote, up in Michigan, and it was probably going to be 13 years ago. And it was during the summer, and we weren't aware. When we got up there, we're like, is this it? It was like a driveway, and it ended up being just a house, and there's like a garage, and then there's just like a shitload of people, and we're like, the fuck is this?
You said 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Michigan?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I don't see an old flyer for it, but I know we drove for several hours to get to it. And
you know what? It might be 13 years ago. Some guy's house in a driveway was a big long dirt road.
I really don't remember. It's been so long ago. I just remember we played really late, and it was actually a decent time. But the only thing I really remember about the show was one of the bands that we used to play with were named Babiarz, and they were there, which they weren't even on the flyer. We don't know why they were there, but they showed up and they played too.
It probably broke up because of the Beast.
This was way before the Beast.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
13 years.
They're time travelers. Get it right.
They're about 10 years before the Beast.
Oh, okay.
No, we played up there.
2013. Got it.
No, so it was 2010.
2010. Okay.
Yeah. And then
2010. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was the summer of 2010. It had to have been. But yeah, we drove all the way up there, and it was just a garage. And I mean, we played. We drove all this fucking way. We played. But the thing that reminds me the most of the whole situation was they had a porta pot out there, and I went in to take a piss. And I came back out, and our drummer had already been in there. And it's like, man, the toilet in there was so nasty. I was like, good thing I just pissed in that little side thing on there. And he got all serious. He's like, you took a piss in the hand washing station? I was like, no, I pissed in the urinal thing. I was like, please tell me you picked up that fucking cake, that mothball cake, and used it as soap. He's like, no, I didn't. We're like, you fucking did. You washed your hands in that fucking thing.
Oh no!
And then he got all fucking defensive and mad at us because that's how he was. But no, we made fun of him so bad over it.
Dude, I don't like porta potties. Like I could probably count my hands how many times I took a dump in one. I peed in many of them, but like I only took a dump in it because I had an upset stomach. I got like food poisoning from Taco Bell. We won't talk about that, but like I always think of that movie like. Is it Trolls or Gremlins? Not Gremlins. Ghoulies. Yeah, when they're at the fair and they take it over, and the one dude hides in the trailer, and there's one in the toilet, and like at the end, like I don't know if it goes up his ass or bites him. But like I always think of that. There's a ghoulie in a porta potty under that blue water, if it's blue sometimes.
Just like. So, gird up, buddy. Gotta do it. Gotta dump. Just gird up. Just do it.
I can't, dude. My body will go in like my body goes in stage fright.
In my profession, I have no choice but to go to a porta pot because sometimes if I'm out on a job, there's really no shitter anywhere else around. So I have no choice. And then the worst thing and the grossest thing ever is when that water splashes back.
Oh, that's a dirty Poseidon if I've ever seen one.
And it's just like it's awful. It's like the most defeating thing ever. I hate having to take a shit in one of those things, and when you do and the water splashes, it's like instant cringe and want to vomit.
You instantly want to go home, take a shower.
Right?
Yeah.
Take a baby wipe the size of a blanket.
Oh,
to be honest, I used to drive. I still have some in the truck, but I usually drive around with like baby wipes in my vehicle just in case.
Oh yeah, that's an old trick. That's an old trick of touring. Actually, is carry
Yeah.
baby wipes with you. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
how many times did I have shit in the woods between gigs? Oh, and
Literally.
having baby wipes is just, I mean, without that, you get swamp ass so bad, and especially up on stage, and you're trying to rock out hardcore, but the only thing that's on your mind is, God, my ass hurts.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, an old touring trick. You know, I watch a lot of touring videos from like the big guys. You
Not
know,
the
kind of like-
Pantera one. That'll put you in jail. Anyway.
yeah, I know, not that one. I'm talking more of like the one where who's the guy's name? He's a roadie who works for a bunch of other famous bands, and he did a here's something you need to put in your road gear kit. And I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. And I saw this about like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something like that. And we started running around Michigan, and sometimes actually in Illinois and Indiana. And I always carry this kit with me, and God, it has saved my ass so many times, quite literally sometimes too.
Yeah.
You know, having Tums, having baby wipes, having what was the other? Oh, believe it or not, floss, not for your teeth. That's for something completely different.
No,
I
it
won't
could
get.
be handy. Strangling a venue, an owner that didn't pay you.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh yeah. So speaking of shitty venue people,
Sure.
you guys want?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Kind of the whole point of this podcast. Yeah. So we actually it's not a venue guy. It's a promoter. I won't mention his name. I won't name drop him, but let's just say he is a piece of human garbage. He contacted us and he goes, I got the spot. It's a national act is coming and I need an opening band. All right, cool. Here's our musical contract. This is how much we, need. And he goes, no, that's not how this works at all. You guys have to sell tickets and give me the proceeds for it. I'm like, okay, well, what do you get? And he goes, exposure. I was like, that's not how that fucking works, dude. He goes, it is how it works. Yeah, exposure, my ass.
I like how he said proceeds. Like, this ain't charity either, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah, fuck exposure. And so we were going to say no to this fucking gig, except it was in Traverse City. And we were starting to build up a fan base in Traverse City. And it's like, we had to weigh the issue of like, well, do we say no? And then all our fans go to this national act in Traverse. And then, DM us later, why weren't you guys there, kind of thing? Because we've been making waves in Traverse for a minute here. And so we weighed that against the whole quote unquote exposure.
Does his first name start with a C?
Yes.
Okay, it's the same guy that does the stuff down in Indianapolis. I guarantee he's out of Chicago. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Maybe he's out of Chicago. Yeah. Last time he told me he was out of Saginaw, but maybe, yeah. If we're talking about the same guy,
we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we, I call him up one day. He's like, yeah, here's some tickets, and he gives me like 10 tickets to sell. And he's like, sell that.
Is his last name C?
No, his last name is R.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, go on.
All right, cool. So yeah, it's can I get an R? Yeah. So we, he mails me 10 tickets to sell, and I was like, dude, the quota that you had us end up selling for the show, you didn't mail us enough tickets, first and foremost. Second of all, every single time I talk to you, I'm getting more and more pissed off. And my bass player, he's trying to be the peacekeeper. He's like, come on, man, come on. It's our hometown. If it wasn't our hometown, we could tell this guy to fuck off. I'm like, I know. I want to tell him to fuck off right now. He's like, right. We can't, dude. We can't. I'm like, fine. So I call him up. I'm like, dude, you only sent us 10 tickets. He goes, yeah, 10 tickets. I'm like, you need us to sell 20 tickets. He goes, yeah. I'm like, 10 does not equal 20.
Make it enough.
Math is hard for Saginaw people, huh? I could be a dick sometimes, No, let's be real. I can be a dick most of the time. So I talked to the, and he's like, you just gotta sell them. I'm like, dude, you're not listening to me. I need 10 more tickets. Did you sell them all? Yes, dude. They're all sold. I need more tickets. What is wrong with you? Are you not hearing what I'm saying? Can you not hear the words coming out of my mouth? And so he's just like, oh, yeah. Well, listen, I'll be up there to promote the show. It's going to be a fucking banger. I'm like, all right, cool. Bring the tickets. And then he goes, oh, yeah, I will. Okay, cool. And he hangs up. And then, so I'm waiting. The guy was supposed to be up in Traverse in like 2 days. I call him again, goes to voicemail. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know. This is going to be fucking weird. Either we're going to show up and he's going to kick us off and we're just going to keep that 10 ticket money because fuck this guy. Finally, I was talking to one of the other bands who were playing with us, and he calls me up. He's like, hey, have you heard from him? I'm like, no, have you? He's like, no, I'm getting real fucking pissed off. I'm like, been there. He goes, all right, cool. Well, I gotta call him. He calls him. Somehow he gets through to this guy, and he calls me up and he goes, he says he left him at the UPS store. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would he leave him at the fucking UPS store? Why didn't he just call me up and have me meet him somewhere so I can grab the fucking tickets? He's like, you're close. Why don't you go grab them? I'm like, all right, I'll go grab them. I had to pay $12.95 to get the tickets from the UPS store.
Was he trying to ship them to you and he was that lazy?
Yeah, he didn't ship them to me. He was in Traverse City. He dropped off a bunch of these shitty little mini flyers, went to the UPS store, dropped the tickets off to the UPS store and with my name on it so I could pick it up. And then they charged me $12.95 to pick up the tickets that I still had to sell and give him the fucking money for. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
I was so pissed.
He's probably at that KFC.
Yes. Fuck that KFC.
Well, let me go piss anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, we sell the rest of our tickets and we sell out actually because our fans are like, yeah, you're opening for a national act. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. But then the inside, I'm like, I'm fuming. I'm just fucking fuming on the inside, but trying to keep a nice face for all the our people around here. So we get to the show and, the guy was like super adamant that we had to be at a very specific certain time, that we had to be there with everybody, the equipment unloaded in the street. I'm like, all right, guys, we're not unloading the equipment. We're going to keep it in the car. We're going to go and see what's up. We're the first band up. We prefer it that way because this is I already feel this being a shit show. And so we get there to the venue here in TC and we there's the national act is there at the venue and they've got their trailer in front and they got equipment out and they're loading in. I'm looking at it going, why the fuck are they loading in right now? It's a small place. It's a small stage. There's nowhere to hold that equipment. What the fuck is going on? I go in there and there's this douche nozzle and he's on his phone. He's got his flat cap sideways. He thinks he's the next Slim Shady. Oh, it's bad. Yeah. And he's like, hey man, what's up? I'm like, hey, I'm Craig from UKR. What the fuck, man? Aren't we supposed to be going on stage? And he goes, what? Oh, yeah. They're just sound checking real fast and they'll be off stage. I'm like, they're closing the show. Why are they sound checking right now? He's like, well, that's how it's done. I'm like, not in small town TC. That's not how it's done. It's a small, shitty Mackie PA. And, I've played off this PA for many years here. It takes the guy like 5 minutes to sound check. He just gets levels and he sound checks as he goes. It's a shit show when it's not a shit show. Let's put it that way. And he goes, right. No, that's not how it's done. I promise you, this will go smooth as silk. I'm like, fuck, whatever. Well, we're here. He's like, your equipment unloaded? I'm like, nope. And it won't be until we're ready to go on stage because it's going right from the truck to the stage. And he was like, all right, amateurs. I was ready to fucking fist fight this guy. I was ready to fucking just
technically most shows they do it backwards. Like the last person goes and then
on a big stage though.
Right.
And at a national show or like a
They
festival,
probably
yeah.
wanted it that way. Maybe that he didn't tell you. Since obviously he's bad at communication, that's probably what they wanted. Like the writers.
Oh, absolutely.
The touring
Yeah.
band, the big band, always sound checks beforehand, at least
Right.
in my experiences, because they're the big band, so they get to have the best sound, and everyone else gets fucked.
Absolutely. Here's the shitty part about that whole thing, though, is as soon as they were done sound checking, they had to tear all their shit down and put it back in the fucking trailer so everyone else could set up.
Oh my god.
Stupid.
I mean, most
Waste of
places,
time.
yeah, most places just like they do the back line and you're just kind of setting up in front of them and you got
Right.
like 1 foot of space to move.
That's what I was expecting, but
Right.
honestly, they had the stage full, and then they had the front of the stage full, and they had like the secondary stage they put up, like a riser,
Yeah.
and then so the owner of this bar, I won't name the owner or the bar, he bolted the tables down to the dance floor, so the tables can't move off the dance floor, so there is literally limited space. Just there is no room. Period. It's I told the guy,
Yeah.
like, this is fucking stupid. They're gonna have to tear down anyway. No, they won't. And so, like, all right. So we're waiting for our time slot. Our time slot comes and goes. The show still hasn't started. This promoter's getting antsy and just like, just shitty with everybody. And he comes and he's like, "Why aren't you guys up there playing?" I'm like, because they are still sound checking. And there's no way we can get our shit up there. And so he's like, "Fine, I'm gonna go talk to their sound guy." I was like, "Okay." So the venue has their sound guy, and actually, I worked with this sound guy, the local sound guy, quite a bit, and he's actually a really good sound guy. He's really good at making shit work with basically nothing.
Yeah.
Which is like gold around this town. So anyway, he goes up there and he starts yelling at the sound guy, and he's like, "I need this shit off the stage right now. The show starts in 20 minutes." And the guy's like, "Calm the fuck down. The show waits for us." And I'm looking at my bass player and my drummer. I'm like, guys, this is so fucking stupid. They locked the fucking doors to the place, and everyone was standing outside waiting. And this was in the middle of January in 2019 on a Sunday night, mind you. So it's like, people are like, "What the fuck's going on?" They want to get in, watch a show, and then go home because they got fucking day jobs and shit to go to. Finally, we get on stage. We rush in. We get our shit set up. The sound guy and I had a chat earlier. I'm like, "All right, listen, we got 3 mics, 3 vocal mics. Get them set up off the side. Put them on the snake, and we'll just do the rest." He's like, "Cool, you guys are awesome." We got in, set up. We did a quick 2-minute levels check, and then we were like, "Okay, let's go." Like, we were just fucking ready to go. They opened the doors, the crowd's streaming in. That was actually the cool part about the show. They opened the doors, they came running in like it was like an old school arena show kind of thing. I was like, "Oh, this was really cool."
Yeah.
And we have this sample pad that we hit we hit the sample pad, and it plays like an electronic intro, and it gives me like, I don't know, probably 15 seconds to do a little bit of preemptive crowd work kind of thing on the microphone, and I let's just say some of the tables got ripped up off the floor, and later on the floor had to be replaced because of us. It was glorious.
Bastard.
Yeah, I know. I'm a devious motherfucker. But yeah,
I guess yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you was all that pent up energy because of dipshit, like screwing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we use it to our advantage, man. We got the crowd fucking going. I mean,
Nice.
Tables were ripped up. I mean, it was just the bartenders were fucking headbanging right behind the bar kind of thing, and people are just screaming, drinks are being thrown. I mean, it was like old school rowdy kind of shit, right? And we get off stage, like we go, we play, we do the crowd work, we get up, we hustle our shit off the stage. My truck's parked out back. We throw it all in the truck, and we're back inside before the other band has even started to think about putting shit on, and that was really cool. Like, I was really proud of us for getting in, doing our shit, and getting out. And so we stayed to watch the other band. The crowd's rowdy, they're chanting, they're like, "Ah!" They're screaming. And the next band gets up on stage, and they're a really good band, but the promoter just totally misbooked everybody. Completely different styles of music, and we had the crowd so riled up. And they get up there and they start playing Lynyrd Skynyrd. and the crowd just have you ever felt a room just deflate in front of you? That was just that, and it was
That's
like,
like when we
oh,
get on
Every
stage.
time I play.
Yeah, me too.
oh no,
No, I'm kidding.
oh no. Yeah, no, we were sitting there watching them, and the whole the crowd just deflated, and people just started walking out the door on the band. I felt so bad for the band. I was like, oh man, that sucks. But then here's the kicker of this whole night: the promoter put his own band on there.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Everybody left for his band because it's I would call it pseudo Linkin Park, like a shitty Linkin Park. Yeah, it was really bad.
Was he the singer?
Oh, he was the rapper. He had another guy who was a singer / rapper, and then he had two guitarists, and he had a drummer, and then they had a laptop on stage. And like he had the laptop in front of him, and he's bouncing around. He's like, "You all ready for this?" And the bar's empty at this point because everybody fucking left.
What is that? So this reminds me of the band that like was from Saginaw, and I always see like a funny video about them.
Oh,
they have a guy like it's like they have two singers. One's like screaming, and the other one's like also singing, but he's not really rapping. It's probably not the same band. Anyway.
It might be the same band, actually, because I saw a couple videos like that, and it might be the same band.
They're under like an overpass, and he's like,
"Oh, that's the band."
No.
Yeah.
No. He's like, take my hand, bitch.
Yeah, that's the band.
No, fuck no. It can't be that band.
Yeah.
No.
It's that band.
You have to send me the video.
Oh my god, dude.
It's that band.
Oh my god!
It's that guy who runs that band. He's the promoter, and he's a shitbag. Yeah, yeah, he's a shitbag. But anyway, so he's up there. He's like, "Yo, ready for this?" Like he was just trying to pump nobody. Like everyone that was there was just the band or the other bands, right? And the national band, they were nowhere to be found. I think they went across the street to the other bar. Because I'm like, fuck this shit. Yeah, and so he's trying to pump this non-existent crowd, and he hits the space bar on his laptop, and the sound coming off of it is so bad. It's like this distorted. It was like over like those shitty computer speakers that you overdrive them. It was like that, and it was like an intro with guitars, acoustics, and like it was like backing tracks essentially, right? And the whole band's just kind of sitting there waiting, and they're waiting, and he's rapping. The other guy is rapping right along with him, trying to hype. He's hype rapping kind of thing. And it gets to like the song's going on for like 3.5 minutes, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, wow, this is bizarre because the other guys, the two guitarists and the drummer, are just sitting there waiting. And then there's a swell from the laptop, but you can't hear it because it's so shitty and crackling. It goes whoop, and then they jump into like this like 30-second like this frantic thing, and the guy tries to scream on the microphone, and he goes Rah! Quite literally he goes Rah!
Oh my god.
I about shit myself. I was laughing so hard.
I'm still picturing this band. I just sent Brandon the video, but I don't know what the real names are. I have to look it up again.
I'll email you the names.
The video says two cops running a teen metalcore band.
When you're done, you have to listen to that. When we're done,
I will. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Brandon's never seen it, but you probably will not stop laughing. Anyway.
Oh my god! He got on the mic and he went Wah! It was like that weird like Kermit the Frog kind of scream. Yeah.
Because like I always tag my cousin in it because he looks like one of the singers, and he's like, I go, Willie, is that you? I just heard the word Saginaw, and I'm like, how does that sound familiar? But
oh yeah. My bass player is actually from Saginaw. Not originally, but he lived there for many years, and he was telling me when we got introduced to this guy for the first time, he's like, man, they're all just out to get themselves, and that's it. They're all shitty people. I was like, damn, dude. He goes, trust me, I lived there for 10 years. I know. I'm like, okay. Does that make you a shitty person? He goes, fuck off.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, just, yeah. So anyway, this guy, he goes for a loud scream, and it's just this Kermit the Frog gargling bullshit. And the whole band does this 30-second, like, thrashy metal part, which was actually pretty cool. Like, that 30 seconds was actually pretty cool, minus the Kermit the Frog. And and he and he gets done, and the band kind of does that dead stop where everything, like, just, cymbals choke, and everyone's like that, and they're waiting for the crowd to go whoa, but it's like crickets. Nobody does a thing. And this guy, he gets on the mic, he's like, thank you all so much. It's a blessing to be here. This song goes out too. And he says something else that's in the Kermit the Frog voice again. And he hits his laptop again. Yeah, and it just this fuzzy, just like crackly thing comes out of the laptop again. And the band just fucking sits there, fucking waiting for their time to come in.
Oh,
and the chorus comes around, and they play the chorus. It's more of like that butt rock kind of chorus, right?
Yeah.
And then they do their they come out of it, and then they just like they stop. And it's like the laptop's taking care of all the drumming during the verses and shit like that. It's like, what the fuck is this, actually? Yeah. And so they got done. Nobody was there for it. The National Act got up, and National Act started re-sound checking. Like, I was like shaking my head. Like, I'm so happy that we played first, because if I had to follow any of that bullshit, I would have just lost my shit. Just like, fuck those guys. But the National Act got up, and we all the bands got together. We tried to make some noise for these guys, because I could tell that these guys were not having fun being in this little town with nobody in a bar playing for this shitty promoter kind of thing. And so we tried to make some noise, and he's like, Traverse City, you're lucky we're here. I was like, wow, that's huh. Okay.
Right.
Way to be humble.
Yeah.
So,
you've been the presence of good.
Yeah. Nobody clapped for them. Like, the National Act, nobody clapped for them at all. And it was just like, it felt terrible, because it felt like I felt for my buddy who is the second band playing. He's totally misbooked, and he shouldn't have been there in the first place. But he said he racked out and had fun, and he didn't care if the crowd was there or not. And I was like, okay, man, whatever you think, whatever you say, but I'm sorry, because we literally stole the show.
So
was the National Band a bigger band, or are they just a band that's on tour?
So
you don't have to say the name. I was just like, yeah.
No. So what it was is the band itself got this special guest singer to be on tour with them. The singer is from a national Grammy winning band, and so the singer put them on his circuit essentially. And then they got a hold of some independent promoters, and they played all these shows around Michigan. And I watched some of their shows, their live shows and stuff like that. And, some of the shows were good. I got to give them credit. They do put on a show. They have a light guy, they have a sound guy and stuff like that. But I can't imagine how expensive it is to pay those fuckers to do this for this. Basically, it's a no-name National Act, essentially. You can search them up on YouTube. They got one video, and they haven't done anything else. The guy singing for them, he hasn't done anything noteworthy since the 80s. Let's just put it that way.
Huh.
And so, like, they're a national band in the very loosest terminology.
So, like, were they cool? Like, were they nice to you, or did you even talk to them? Or
well, so yeah, actually, after they got off stage, and we sat in the bar next door until probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. I know the owner of that bar, and I was like, hey man, can you let us stay? And these guys, they don't have to go anywhere till tomorrow, and they don't have a room here. Can they stay till 5 and put their bus driver up in a hotel room? He's like, yeah, fuck it, stay. So we sat up all night fucking drinking. They drank Crown like fish,
Gross.
I was
Uh-huh.
I was amazed at how much Crown they went through. I just drank beer, like I didn't want to be shitty.
Right.
But they were telling stories about being on the road with before they got the singer to join them. And I took the guitar player, so I'm like, so this is your band then? He goes, yeah, I started this band. I'm like, all right, cool.
Hmm.
How do you know the singer? And he goes, oh, I went to high school with him. I'm like, oh, no shit. And he goes, yeah, went to high school with him, and then he got famous, and then he wasn't doing anything in the early 2000s, and I just kind of contacted him like, hey man, you want to sing? He said, fuck you. I'm like, all right, cool. That's how that story started.
Nice.
I'm like, so, but he's obviously here. He's like, yeah, he's, I finally convinced him that we're gonna, do this big tour. I'm like, well, welcome to the big tour. I kind of like put my arms out wide, me being a dick, obviously. And he starts laughing. He's like, yeah, I know this is kind of a shitty show, isn't it? I'm like, uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
The promoter was sitting right there with us too, and we were just fucking ragging on him the whole time. At one point, he had enough, and he got up in my face, and he's like, fucking just stupid, wasted, drunk. I mean, he could barely stand. It smelled like he shit himself. I mean, it was just like bad. And so he
Was he like,
rah?
oh wait, or that was the other guy. Or-
Yeah. Well, the promoter, that was him, the guy who did the frog voice. That was
my
him and
God.
his band.
Right.
Maybe this is my opinion about this whole thing, but like, if you're promoting a show and like your job is to promote the show, don't put your fucking band on there unless you're making a show with your band, like, and you know what exactly it's going to be.
No,
But if
that's a dick clout move right there, actually.
yeah, it's
Completely.
like we're gonna have all these small bands, and then there's my band. Like even the flyers. I mean, the flyers are fucking just ridiculous. It had all the bands in small print on the left side, and it had one picture of the national act. It was actually the picture of the singer, and it was tiny. And then on the other half of the poster was a big spread of his band underneath the overpass with his band logo. And I was like, okay, I see where this is. Like my opinion about that. Maybe it's wrong, but I feel that if you're promoting a show or running a festival or running a national band, don't put your fucking band on there. Just like fucking do your job.
I would feel guilty, like if I'm not a promoter, but like if I put my band on something like that, I would actually, me personally,
Right.
I wouldn't do that. I would just feel like, I know that's a pretty shitty thing to do.
Ed and I talked about this earlier. It was an old flyer from a show that we played like 3 years ago. It came up in my Facebook memories.
Oh yeah.
Out of all the bands that were on that show, my band was the only band that has been around for several years, and we released an album. We played a lot of shows, and they put us at the very bottom of the flyer. And most people don't care about. I don't really care about shit like that, but
right.
One of the band that booked the show, it was their first show ever. And they had themselves towards the top of the flyer, and they played prime spot in there. They had us open. And I honestly prefer to open because it means we get more time to set up. And
yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you on that one.
Because we always either opened up or ended up having to play last, and I prefer to open rather than play last. But
right.
But anyways,
sorry.
I just found it like just in my memories, and I said something that I realized like it's almost like disrespectful in a sense, like the one band around there that people might have actually have heard of, and you put us at the very bottom and made us open because you newer bands are more superior, apparently.
Right.
To me, it's just more of a noob type thing. I don't know.
It is. It absolutely is. Like for instance, this show that we're building in May, the venue Mulligan's asked us to build a show.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the venue and stuff like that, and unfortunately bands have to promote, and it's kind of one of those DIY kind of concepts and stuff like that.
I saw the contract. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, so we have to build the show, and usually what we do is I get on Messenger. I find all the people that I need to talk to, and I'm like, hey, this is the show. I'm giving you guys first pick. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to play open, middle, or last? You know, like I don't care. I could play either one. Fine by me. You guys are helping me out by playing on this show, you know, so we don't have to play 3 hours, which we have. We have played 3 hours before, and it's rough,
Right.
especially with metal. But you know, for the these guys, you know, whoever we get on our show, they're helping us out. You know, we want to give them as much respect and as much clout as possible and stuff like that. And usually, I love the community, the underground community of bands down here or in Michigan in reality, because when it comes down to it, I say, hey, I'm putting a show together, and usually I get bands going, yeah, we'll play. I'm like, cool, first come, first serve, and then usually somebody from one band goes, hey, I do flyers for a living. You want me to do a flyer? I'm like, if you want to, go ahead, man. And I always put it, perfectly clear that anything we do as a group, I'm not personally paying anybody. So if they expect to get paid for making a flyer or promoting, I make it crystal clear up front, like, hey, listen, this is what's what. I know that you may want to do a flyer, but you want to get paid for it. Well, then I'll do the flyer. You may not like it, so sorry.
That's how
but
I
that's
feel.
yeah. It's
I've made a flyer for a band, and I'm like, I didn't ask for money. I just want to do it just to at least partake in helping the show get together.
Right. Yeah. And usually a 3-band show like Mulligan's is like, usually we put all the bands in like the top. But I've actually built shows for like 12 to 18 bands over the course of like 3 days. And, my band obviously is part of that list, but it's also made perfectly clear to everyone there. I'm like, hey, I don't expect special treatment just because I organize a show and get everyone together. The venue asked me to do it, kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas, if I've built shows before with a buddy of mine when we were in high school. He had this band. What is it called? Tomorrow's Heroes. And he's like, man, we need a venue. I'm like, cool, I got a venue. I'll book you, And he's like, cool, you guys playing? I'm like, no, this is your show. I did the advertising and stuff like that, and I got a little bit of money off that too, because I made it perfectly clear to these guys, like, I'm not playing, I'm working for you guys, so I'm gonna get a little bit of the proceeds from the door. Kind of thing. Is like the tickets were $5 at the door, kind of thing. Another $5 if you want a beer, kind of thing. We had a keg and you bought a solo cup, kind of thing. For posterity, we were overage.
Sure.
Barely.
Are you eating a bologna sandwich? I hear you eating.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to know what you're eating.
A Tic Tac. I forget I'm not.
People still eat those? Okay. Anyway.
I'm a bit of an old school guy.
Right.
But yeah, so I booked the show for these guys, and I booked 2 other bands with them. I had them close the slot out, and we had beer flowing, and every ticket and every purchase, I got $1, and the bands got $4, kind of thing. And we just made it abundantly clear right off the get. And they were all cool with it, and stuff like that. But in the end, like, even my portion, like, it was such a good night that I gave half of my portion back to the bands because they did such a good job, and I was kind of dipping my hands and fingers into the idea of maybe starting my own production company. Essentially, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at this point, and I'm like, well, I'm good at music, I'm good at talking. Maybe I could combine those two. So I tried my hand at it, and then I definitely stepped into some shit dealing with people like the promoter that we dealt with for the national show that we played at. And so, people telling you that's not how it's done in the industry, learn, kid, stuff like that. I'm like, all right, fuck you, dude. I think it's, people like me and you guys even who are just like, we're tired of the scene as is, and we want better. So why not we just make it better ourselves with the understanding that we're in it together kind of thing? Because this whole out to get everyone else just so you can rise up and be the number one guy, that's no fun.
Right.
I mean,
and
yeah, it's just
I bring it up all the time that we lost several years of music because of the Beast, and like,
oh yeah,
we decided, well, not me personally, some people still decided that they're still going to act the way they are. I'm like,
yeah,
come on, dude, come
yeah,
on, you weren't shit when the Beast was here. Don't act the way you did.
right.
I'm not targeting a specific person or whatever, just
Well, I know what
the
you mean,
act
yeah.
of shitting on other people for entertainment purposes should have been done with, but it's probably never going to ever cease the way
Well,
people are.
true, and you actually something that since the Beast has been through here, through the nation and stuff, and affected the whole scene.
Yeah.
What we've noticed is, the shitty venues that didn't really have any lights before the Beast, but after the Beast are still hiring bands. Those venues are now coming to light with their predatory practices, like charging a 20% upfront merch fee. I don't know if you heard about that. That's bullshit.
The the merch fee, or the
yeah, they call it a
oh
yeah. It's venues would do, especially like touring bands and stuff like that, because touring bands, a lot of them don't make a lot of money. Their money comes actually from merch sales more than anything else. They get paid basically to break even to play the show, and then
Sure.
whatever they sell at the show is anything profit. Well, sometimes they don't even get paid to break even at a show. Sometimes the band's relying, but some of these shitty venues that are all around the country. I have a buddy in LA that actually is a touring solo artist. He's a jazz musician, and he was telling me about, like, even the jazz community, these venues will charge a 20% merchandising handling fee, they call it.
I didn't
And
know jazz sells merch, but that's funny. Anyway,
well, that's the thing.
yeah,
Not a lot of jazz sells merch. In fact, the merch that they sell is CDs or sometimes vinyls, and that's it. No shirts, no hats. None of, like, what
wow,
the metal bands do.
yeah,
And so what these venues do is they count up all the merch. You have to bring in an itemized inventory of your merch. They total it up and they take 20% and they go, okay, you owe it before you can even set foot in the store. You owe us this much money for the merch fee.
I assume every jazz player has a deep, smoky voice, like, that's some jive turkey shit. You ain't playing my stuff. I just assume every like, no matter what color a jazz person is, they all talk like a smooth, smoky, like, that's some bullshit.
That's bullshit.
Even the piano player sounds like he's had like 20 cigarettes. Like,
right?
You ain't stealing my vinyls. Anyway, sorry, go on.
It's all right. No, it's like, that since the Beast has been around, it's brought to light these shitty practices.
Yeah.
For these venues and promoters and people who are just trying to get one up on each other, right? And maybe this is me preaching, and I apologize if this is too preachy, but
no,
I have to say it. As musicians, as independent music makers and promoters and trying DIYers and stuff like that, we have to stick together when it comes to playing our music and putting it out there. I mean, online is great and stuff like that, but there's something magical about playing in front of these crowds that just, the energy that they bring, and then you feed off the energy, and then you pump energy back into them, and it becomes this reciprocating, just amalgamation of just awesomeness. And that's something to live for as a musician, kind of thing. And it's like, we as musicians have to stick together. We just do. I mean, it's stupid not to, because we are still dealing with the after effects of the Beast. We really are. Yep. I mean, there's just, yeah. So sorry about the preach, but I had to say it.
I mean, you're just, you hit the nail on the head. I feel the same way. Like, there should be no reason for this craziness. I mean, we got inflation. It's bad enough. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't have the money to go out to shows as often as they want to, and ourselves, we live in the good old Midwest where like all
Oh
it
yeah.
is more work than more fun.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
because like I know people that work in the RVs, trailer factories, like
Uh-huh.
they want to go to shows, but they can't because they don't really get vacation days and they don't want to miss their job and staying out late. I mean, you'd have to be
Yeah.
pretty brave. So it's like designed as a default that we're just kind of all work, barely any play unless it's the weekend kind of
Absolutely.
area. I mean, I don't know about Michigan, but like, like that's how I feel Indiana is. It's literally just our state should be shaped like an RV because that's all that matters apparently. But like
yeah.
it's and then
Yeah.
like I noticed a lot of, I don't know how many huge venues are around you aside from like Grand Rapids, but like a lot of tours pass up Indiana because they just, I don't know, maybe they can't pony up the money or just the bands
Yeah.
realize, oh, fuck that state. I'm not saying every
Right.
we got Fort
Right.
Wayne, thank
Well, yeah.
God bless you, but like
Right.
yeah, it's definitely it's a
Well, the
sad
big
state.
thing, yeah, the big thing in Michigan about about big touring venues and stuff like that is really the casinos. They're the only things that have been keeping up on those big tour dates, and now they're exploding. I heard a radio advertisement today as I was driving to work, and Clutch is coming to Soaring Eagle Casino or something like that. And I was like, wow, the days when if you had to play a casino gig back in the day, that was a shitty gig because people don't care. They're there, they're putting coins in slots. They're like,
I just never like pictured like concerts to be at a casinos other than like a guy that like sings like Wayne Newton or who's that guy with that it's not unusual to be loved, that guy.
Yeah,
like, I'd assume it's all lounge bands, but
Rick Astley or what's up,
but like
Pussycat? Whoa.
no, like the most shocker. Well, I'm not gonna say shocked because like Hammond would get like Judas Priest and Slayer, and then like recently I went to a Merciful Fate at the casino in Gary, and it's like a hard rock casino, so it was very strange, but like that is kind of different. I mean, I'd go there again, but the correlation of like upside down crosses and like casino,
I know, right?
Does not make sense, but whatever. I went to the show.
Kind of hilarious.
It is hilarious.
I think Brett Michaels was doing like casino stuff around here at some point. I could have swore I seen like a sign or something with him on it there playing like some casino.
You know what?
He deserves the dive bar. He deserves the dive bars. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, hey, speaking of dive bars, you guys want to hear a funny story?
Sure.
Tell me if I'm talking too much. I will shut up.
No, you're fine.
All right, cool. So we're in this really cool dive bar, and I don't know if they're still around, but it was cool. It was like your legit dive bar. We show up and play this bar called Rockies. I don't think they're around anymore. We show up, and this waitress has a legit cigarette hanging out of her mouth, lit. I mean, this is like, this is last 2 years ago. Like, so, smoking in bars hasn't been a thing for a long time.
Right.
She's sitting there just smoking away, and she's like, what do you want? And she had like the lot lizard voice. And I love her. Her name was Marge. I shit you not. Her name was Marge.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And she's like, what do you want? And I was like, we're with the band and we're going to play. She's like, out back. And I'm like, out back outside? And she's like, no, out back. I'm like, okay. we go back, and it's like this like corridor hallway, right? And then there's like this little space underneath like this spiral staircase, like a metal like fire spiral staircase kind of thing. And there's a microphone sitting there. I'm like, really? This is it? She goes, yep, that's where the bands play. I'm like, you have a lot of bands play here? Every day, honey. What do you want? I'm like, what? I want to play. She goes, no, to drink, moron. What do you want? I'm like, what do you got? She goes, I'll get you the special. And she just walks away. I was like, okay. She comes back with a fucking picture of PBR. I'm like, oh, thank God, something not, it's PBR at least. It's not like, piss or anything.
Right.
Because when we walked in, it was like you picture a dive bar on TV, right? You've got the white collar guy, head down with a shot glass full of vodka, and he's basically snoring. He wakes up and he looks at the shot, takes a shot, and goes right back to sleep on the bar, kind of thing. Like you got that kind of guy, and then you got the other. You have the has-been hookers that are sitting there, kind of thing, and it's just it was your traditional dive bar. It's hard to describe it, but that's what it was. But anyway, so we show up, and the other band that invited us there, they show up, and they're like, "Who do you want us to open for you? Do you want to open for us?" And they're like, "No, let you guys open for us." Like, cool. We set up, and we were trying to get the sound working, and it was this panel that looked like it had been built in the 1930s, stuffed into a wall, and it had all these frayed, like, cloth covered wires that were going to these XLR ports. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Somehow it didn't burn down, and it was working, and we got to work. Oh, by the way, I have to say, I wasn't sure if anything was burning, because right next to us was a like burnt out deep fryer. Like it was like a deep fryer that had caught on fire. And it was just sitting there on some cardboard, hadn't been taken out. And I look over at Marge and go, "What's up with the deep fryer?" She goes, "Oh, we had a kitchen fire last night." I'm like, okay. What the hell is this? But we play, and like it sounded good, and even the white collar guy, he gets up and he starts banging his head a little bit. He's like, "Yeah." I mean, when we started playing, though, they opened the doors wide, and the crowd just started kind of flowing in. It was a weird moment. You know, like everything was lining up to be just a shitty show, and it just happened to be a really good show. And we got that band that we opened for. They asked us to come back down and play at the Tip Top, and that was a really cool venue and really cool show. And like we made a really good connection. I don't know what Marge is doing. I should look her up, see what she's doing.
Still smoking a pack a day.
Oh, at least maybe 2.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that's you never know what you're gonna get when it comes to playing at any sort of venue.
That's what. That's my mentality. Like I'll play anywhere just for the drive and the experience. I mean, like I'm not gonna. I'm not looking to get famous. I still got a normal job. But I enjoy the little road trips that I do, even if I ride by myself.
It's like an adventure.
Yeah,
you never know what you're getting into.
Like we've been like a recent bass player. I won't say his name, but he's like he doesn't listen to this. He was like, "You guys don't ride together? What the hell kind of shit's that?" I'm like, "It doesn't pan out. We all live in like different areas, and
right?
Like, some people want to get home because we got a few members that have kids, and they just would rather like." Have a fun show, hang out with her family. And so like
nothing wrong with that.
For me, like I'll just drive home by myself. My wife never goes. I'll drive in the middle of the night, just kind of it's like a nice little alone time. You have your mind, you clear out your mind, like you kind of look back
before you get home.
You decompress, you think about what you did wrong at the show, what you did right. And sometimes you have that show where you're like, I did pretty good. And everybody was cool. It's the memories.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to have like a van and we all be
right.
But then we'd end up probably killing each other. I could see that happening, all of us. So maybe you just gotta separate some kind of personalities. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. No, that's my bass player and I, we ride together to shows quite a bit because we live in the same area.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, my drummer ends up driving separately and stuff like that. But we usually end up listening to like podcasts or weird covers that maybe we should do, or recently I've been trying to get my bass player into audiobooks, because I listen to audiobooks all the time, especially at work. And sometimes the audiobooks will be playing and he'll look over at me and goes, "The fuck is this shit, dude? Put some Judas Priest on." I'm like, all right.
No, like the podcast thing is, again, Brandon was telling you, like it's new to me because during the Beast I started listening to him. I never have before. I'm like, I don't want to hear people talking about shit. That sounds dumb. And then I realized, well, I like listen to people talk. What am I talking about? So I ended up liking them and finding all sorts of different ones. And since I'm a gear nerd, I like stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
it'd be interesting what kind of podcasts they do make. Like they got people having sex, I guess. I don't know. Wants to listen to that. Or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
Porno
Yeah.
cast.
porno
Yeah.
cast.
Porno cast.
So
Is that like Porno Grind?
no, not a band. There's probably a channel for that too.
There is a porno noise grind. It is a supposed genre. And I was like, what is it? And it's like noises and they have like porn noises in the background, like moaning and stuff. I was like,
Oh, that
This
sounds
is a-
awful.
like, this is a thing?
That sounds awful. Like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but it does. It sounds
Anyone out there
awful.
that gets offended from the porno gore grind or whatever, if you have a band and you want to come on here, you can still come on here.
Right?
We'll play your song.
Oh, a couple podcasts that I actually listened to. I actually, we reached out to each other about doing this podcast. I downloaded your guys' podcast. I've been listening to it. You guys do a good job, I gotta say. Listen to a lot of podcasts. But one podcast I do listen to a lot is really cool. If you're a gearhead, it's called No Guitar is Safe.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
So you listen
Shout
to this
out
guy
to
too.
Jude Gold.
Yeah, I love listening to the stories of the guitarists, especially the hired guns.
Because like he's also funny and cynical and like he's got a funny sense of humor. And like at first, I'm like, this guy's hilarious. So yeah, I love that thing. I don't understand that helicopter thing. I'd like to talk to that guy. He probably has a lot of interesting stories.
Right.
Yeah, reach out to him. Do a show swap with him.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys should. Oh, that's a $1 million idea right there.
He's kind of big time. He's playing for like, what is he playing for right now? I think he's playing for like
he's playing for
REO Speedwagon or something like that.
No, I think it's Starship. He's playing for Starship.
Yeah, Jefferson Starship. Yeah, he's playing for them right now.
Yeah. Which I'll be honest, I actually really like Starship. And it's my dad. It's my dad's music. It is, but
I wish I could sing like that guy. I'm dead serious.
Jane. Yeah. No, I take a lot of actual influence in my metal writing actually from 70s rock.
I'm more like the 80s guy too. Like I'll just kind of
Okay. Yeah. Like if you were put like a shit ton of distortion on Yes, it would be like the grindiest black metalist sound out there. But like they're just vibing. They're gigging. And it's like that's cool. But like I watched this guy on YouTube who takes a lot of stuff and puts like distortion on it and plays it. It's like, wow, that changed the whole connotation of the song.
Yeah.
Like that, or you listen to like Focus. Listen to that weird like organ and flute that he plays. But all that stuff kind of like it plays into what I'm thinking. Like, I want to do something crazy and weird for this next intro to this next album. And I actually recently discovered this cool thing called a Carnax. It's a war horn from like 3000 BC, and it's like there's a guy on YouTube that plays it, and it literally like raises the hair on your arms, and like it brings the emotions, like deep emotions, out of me. And I was like, whoa, what is this? I need it.
That could be a whole different topic about like conspiracy theories about how certain frequencies they could be used to heal, but they don't tell you these things. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Yeah.
That's another podcast Brandon has.
Yeah. Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
I should introduce you guys to the to my my gear tech guy who does all my amp repair and stuff. He is really good.
You have one of those, man. There's those people are few and far between over here, I swear.
I have one of those. I have to travel about an hour and a half to his house.
Well, yeah, I guess that's probably the only way you could find one is a traveling part.
Yeah, but I mean, he's one of those guys where you call him, he won't pick up. He waits for his answer machine. I mean, it's an old school answer machine, and you go, "Hey, it's me." And then he'll pick up and say, "Oh, hey, I was just tying my shoes." He does the weirdest excuses for not picking up the phone. And I'm like, "I was just tying my shoes real quick." I was like, "Okay. Hey, you free this weekend? I need to drop an amp off. You good with that?" "Oh, yeah. Bring it down." And every once in a while, he'll be like, "Hey, don't take M115 down." "Okay, why not?" there's some big government stuff going on over there. I'm like, okay.
Sure.
I take 115 anyway, because who the fuck does he know, right? So I get there, and his guy is a conspiracy nut. Like, you wouldn't believe. I believe in some conspiracies. I really do, because it makes sense. But this guy takes it to a whole new level. Like, he thinks the CIA is after him, and just it's
I need to
it's
interview him
weird.
for my podcast.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. And he can talk. If you think I can talk, he can talk. Part of the price of his he charges not a lot for his repairs, and he's an electronic genius. He hot rodded my amp on accident, actually. He's like,
Accident.
well, kind of.
Happy accident.
It was a happy accident. He went through and he's like, oh, hey, I noticed a bunch of your stuff in here was about ready to fail, so I just replaced it with new parts. And I go, okay, cool, no worries. And he's like, yeah, the parts are better, and I soldered it to factory specs, so it should be all perfect from the day it got off the factory line. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm expecting like, a $600-700 bill or something. And he goes, it's gonna cost you a little bit. I'm like, okay, how much? He goes, how does $50 sound? I go, excuse me, what? $50. I'm silent for a minute. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. Do you want to hot rod anything else while you're at it? like, yeah, $50 is fine. I get there, and I hand him the $50. He gives me an amp, and I'm there for 2 fucking hours because he's talking about conspiracy theories.
Nice.
I feel bad for
I feel like anybody that puts like their hand inside a live wire amp might have a little
oh yeah,
some sort of like spiritual knowledge, or they're a nut, because I wouldn't reach in there and try to fix something that'll electrocute the shit out of you.
Oh fuck no!
All in the name of tone.
Oh yeah, all in the name of tone. This guy, he is an electronic genius. I got all of my equipment from him, actually, most of it actually.
Nice.
I play out of a 1975 crate amp. It's a combo amp, but it's cool because the combo part of the amp unplugs, and I can plug it into a different amp. So I use the speaker combo for my dual terror head.
Nice.
So basically, if my tubes go out in the terror, I have a backup amp just sitting right there.
Yeah.
And both amps are working perfectly, loud as hell, louder than most stacks that I've come across. Just because this guy just is a genius with hot rodding.
Nice.
And he doesn't take any claim with hot rodding. He's like, oh, I didn't hot rod it. I made it like factory specs. I'm like, okay, well, good job. So this guy's he's a great guy. If you're in the area, you email me. I'll send you his way.
Oh, that's quite a drive for me. I'm sure I'll find somebody around here closer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm all not to make the podcast nerd. I'm all Axe Effects because I don't want shit breaking on me and looking like an ass.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
I gotcha. Do you play out of an effects processor?
Yeah, the Fractal.
A Fractal, nice.
One of those.
Nice. Is
just
it
because
I'm
just because I'm fat and lazy, and I don't want like people spilling beer on something or a tube going out. All that
sure.
shit. It's the pedal.
Sure.
It's a smaller pedal version of it and a power.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And does it go to a powered speaker cab?
Yeah, 212 Port City. It doesn't weigh.
Okay.
It's pretty loud. It doesn't weigh much because again, I'm fat and lazy. I can pick it up with one hand, but it's about as loud as a 412, allegedly, because it's ported.
Well, right.
Yeah,
Allegedly, so. I like that quotation marks. Allegedly.
Allegedly, I still have yet to. Well, that's what the advertisement says. Maybe it's just just like anything else that advertise it. It's probably blown out of proportion and full of shit, but
right.
I've enjoyed it on stage and it's small, so whatever.
Right on, dude.
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool. Yeah, I've been over the years. I've been trying to make my equipment footprint as small and powerful as possible because
right, so you can get the fuck off stage and just
as fast as possible. Just
as possible. Same.
Yeah, it's because I don't want to be up there just taking down my full guitar stack or something. I actually went around for a minute with an 812 guitar stack with a Marshall head. I mean, I thought it was hot shit. Really, I was just an idiot. I was a dumbass for doing that because it just, one of the cabs went out one night on the stage and I couldn't tell the fucking difference because it was so loud and powerful. It was like, Yeah, my bass player goes, "Hey, I think Wyoming couldn't hear you in the last song because your other cab went out." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fine, I'll pare down."
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's
Sweet.
I got plenty more stories. I mean, if you guys want me to keep talking, I'll keep talking. But
I think we can probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
right on. He's like,
No,
"Get this guy off the air, for
No
God's
offense.
sakes."
No, it's like,
no, it's not
Yeah,
that. It's just
no.
we're pushing on 2 hours and we try.
Oh no shit! Wow. Right on. Yeah.
You
So
want to talk a little bit about the song you want to play here at the end?
yeah. First of all, you got it right.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, cool. So the song's called Minute One, and it is off of our latest album release, UKR5, and it is it's in my recent memory is the only song I've heard currently that has engineered drum solo in it in the current decade. I know you got like Moby Dick and stuff like that, John Bottom, stuff like that, but I haven't heard a musical release with a full-on drum solo. And so this one has a drum solo in it. It has a really cool story behind it. It talks about my bass player's time in the Army. He was stationed in Germany in the 80s. And it's basically, the lyrics are all about basically all his stories that he's told me over the years of us jamming together, about just the bullshit that happens in being part of a unit, if you will. But yeah, it's off UKR5. You can find our music off of Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, hopefully Pandora, any of your preferred streaming services. We're there. We have an EP on there as well, called One Way Ticket to Mars. Please take a listen. If you like it, awesome. If not, you know what? Pass it on to someone who might like it. And thank you for listening.
We've been adding all the songs, not all, but like every time we interview someone, we usually take the song and put it on the Spotify playlist that we got created for the podcast too. So
Hell yeah.
There's a Dark Side of the Scene Spotify playlist for anyone out there listening that will feature this song and other songs from the other artists that we've interviewed.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem. We're just out there to try and help out and get some word out and get the music out there.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and talking with us.
Absolutely.
Definitely enjoyed your stories and talking with you.
Yeah.
Now that I've been to your town, so it's cool that I have an idea of what you knew what I was talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I did want to get the pizza by the river, but we didn't have time to do that. But whatever.
Well, maybe next time you're in TC, hit me up at the brewery, and
I'll remember this. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna close this one out, but you hang on to this call, and we'll talk to you off air.
Sounds good.
But anyone listening, if you want to be on Dark Side of the Scene, send an email to Brandon at darksideofthescene.com, and we'll get you scheduled for a future episode. We're going to roll on out. So good night, everyone.